I wonder what they got on the television this weekend.
Hi there, corporate person here, and here I am. This is the Super Bowl advertisement. First, we got Pepsi. Pepsi's good. Pepsi's the best drink in the world. Don't ask Coca-Cola, don't ask questions. Next up, waffles. Who doesn't love waffles? Waffles is great. Waffles is amazing. Next, Doritos. Who doesn't love a bit of snacks? Corn snacks, any snack, who doesn't matter? Oh, is there any Germany? Doesn't matter. It's Doritos. Doritos is in the name. PepsiCo. PepsiCo. Branding. Love an emoji. Emojis. Apple. It's marketable. Stop asking questions. It's funny. Please. And you know what? This advertisement has costed 1 cent. I don't care. It's corporatism, it's money, it's Super Bowl! Football! Yeah! This advertisement, let's go to 1 cent. That's about it. Sign up!
Hi, I am AVRGIon. This week is the Super Bowl in America, and I, just an average European who is more used to soccer than NFL, am gonna rank all the stadiums of each team in the American football scene. I then will have a look at the final rankings and then personally predict who will win the Super Bowl this year to conclude this rather random video. So let's begin the rankings of the NFL stadiums. If any of my opinions causes huge debates, I am all welcome to discuss. So let's check these stadiums out. Arizona Cardinals, State Farm Stadium. Kicking things off is the venue of this year's Super Bowl, the third one for the venue of the State Farm Stadium of the Arizona Cardinals, with a capacity of 63,000 and opened in 2006, whilst renovated in 2017. Generally speaking, it reminds me of Allianz Arena in Munich, in terms of the shape of the stadium. But another thing to note is that it's got a pitch right next to it, and a retractable roof helps in the hot Arizona climate, which is nice. Most noteworthy thing about the venue is that it hosted concerts, Monster Jams, US men's national team matches, and the 2009 and 2015 Super Bowls, which for Steelers and Patriots got their W. So overall, I'll give the stadium a humble 8 place, humble top 10 for the Cardinals. Atlanta Falcons, Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Next up is Atlanta Falcons with their fortress of a venue with 71,000 seats, the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, residing near where the Georgia Dome used to be and opened in 2017, not that long ago. And they are celebrating their 5th anniversary since its opening. Its surrounding has a Home Depot backyard in the foundation of Georgia Dome's remains. But anyway, back to this marvel of architecture. What can I say about this stadium is that it's very futuristic. The screens and the roof makes it stand out above the regular outdoor stadiums in the rest of the states. At least most notable things about the venue is that it hosts Atlanta United's MLS matches, is one of the many venues for the 2026 World Cup, hosted 1 Super Bowl, and that Super Bowl was probably the most defensive one with a 13-3 result. Feels like the only park the bus type of final in this type of stadium. But overall, this stadium is phenomenal, so respect Atlanta. You get the top 3, truly modern, truly gigantic. Baltimore Ravens, M&T Bank Stadium. Baltimore is next with the M&T Bank Stadium, the first outdoor stadium in this ranking. And judging by the spot, it's downtown and next to rail tracks, but have never hosted a Super Bowl. According to the Ravens website, it's a home for dubs, 2 Super Bowl dubs for the Ravens, and big screens and a gold standard in architecture. It's simple, but doesn't really add much else to the table, so it sits around the middle, 13th place. It's another outdoor venue, Buffalo Bills, Highmark Stadium, the home of the Bills. And what can I say about the venue is that it's home to the team that has lost 4 times in the 90s, rough one. But apart from that, it has a sensory inclusive space, and it was built in the 70s and renovated in 2013, so at least it is well maintained. Other than that, I don't really have much else to say. I'll place it 23rd, just because it doesn't have much else for me to critique. Carolina Panthers, Bank of America Stadium. Bank of America Stadium is the home of the Panthers and Charlotte FC recently due to the 2021 renovations. Since it is another outdoor venue, apart from the disdain of ticket prices, the architecture of the stadium is simple, 2 big screens, 1 big pitch, and neat entrances. Keep things short, 21st place. Don't shred me. Chicago Bears, Soldier Field. The Soldier Field of the Chicago Bears, a mix of past and present that in the end didn't work exactly right. With 61,000 seats and being the smallest of the NFL stadiums, the venue opened up originally in 1924, probably the same year as the old Wembley, and the stadium within the Soldier Field is built in from 2003. The stadium itself looks like if Wembley Stadium had the old towers together with the arch, but clearly it has its historic values. But the present itself makes Soldier Field just all over the place. It could have been fascinating, but it is in downtown Chicago, so I guess it's something. I'll be kind and put it in the 24th place. Americans really dislike the cluster of what Soldier Field is, but the blend of past and present could have worked better. But it's something, as I said. Cincinnati Bengals, Paycor Stadium. Last year the Bengals couldn't get the job done against the home advantageous LA Rams. But could they have a nice looking stadium? It's by the riverside of Ohio River, cue all the Ohio slander memes, but generally it looks a lot nicer than the bland but simple American designs of the previous stadiums that I ranked. So I think they deserve a 15th place spot, which is generous to the Paycor Stadium, right in the middle. Cleveland Browns, First Energy Stadium. Sticking with being in Ohio, we go up north, close to the Great Lakes, as the First Energy Stadium resides by the docks of Cleveland. It is known as the Factory of Sadness for some reason. Maybe the results of the team might not be satisfactory, but the stadium seems to be in pure banality. 26th place. Dallas Cowboys, AT&T Stadium. AT&T Stadium for the Cowboys of Dallas, 80,000 seats and opened in 2009. I only know a few things about Dallas, that there's a TV show and that their stadium is most known for hosting 2 subpar WrestleManias notably, and one of the many venues of the 2026 World Cup. Take a shot of orange juice for every time I'll say that in this video. Stay healthy. Anyway, AT&T is huge, Texas is huge, cowboy country. It hosted the 2010 Super Bowl and currently still holds the biggest attendance rate. I can't say much else about this behemoth of a venue, so it goes second. Controversial, I know. Biggest deal of a stadium and it gets second best. Denver Broncos, Empower Field at Mile High. In 2013, Denver took a huge defeat 43-8, but bounced back in 2015 by winning against the Panthers. However, the Broncos venue with the 76,000 seats is as basic as the rest. It's in the South Platte River and almost at the heart of Denver. Other than that, pretty simple stuff. 22nd place is all I can give. Detroit Lions, Ford Field. The replacement of the Pontiac Silverdome, the home of the Lions, is this, chilling right by Comerica Park and deep in the city. It's another roofed-up stadium, but better than the predecessor. It's just such a cool old school stadium. It's also hosted WrestleMania where Cena rocked up in a Mustang, and will host this year's SummerSlam randomly. Lots of wrestling, lots of NFL, just oozing cool venue. 11th place. Tough stuff like the Motor City, but almost in the top 10. Green Bay Packers, Lambeau Field, home of the 4-time Super Bowl winners Green Bay. Brings a lot more than the simple outdoor venues of the previous ranked teams. It probably beats a little bit of the roofed-up venues too. It's just an interestingly green venue, so I'll put this Wisconsin spot in 18th place. Houston Texans, Energy Stadium. Houston, we have a problem. The problem is the 71,000 seat stadium chilling next to a slumbering Astrodome. It's the NRG Stadium, and it's another Reliance roof stadium, which hosted 2 Super Bowls, with one being the only match that went into overtime, which then was a Patriot victory. And once again, another venue for the 2026 World Cup. The stadium is just so in your face to its neighbor that is the Astrodome. So it gets a fair 9th place, right in the top 10s for the location, the design, and the history.
John Madden.
Indianapolis Colts, Lucas Oil Stadium. Besides hosting 1 Super Bowl in 2011, Lucas Oil Stadium is industrial as it gets. It's like if Battersea Power Station became a stadium, but larger in scale. And a clever roof to add on. It definitely goes in the top 10, 6 to be exact. Still stupendous though! Jacksonville Jaguars, TIAA Bank Field. In the words of All Elite Wrestling's Jim Ross, home of the Jags! Tony Khan owns this 67,000 seat place and was built in 1995 with a renovation in 2016. It's also got a pool. They nearly went the distance in this year's playoffs, even though they were mediocre as it gets. But this stadium is more relatable to wrestling than NFL. It was the spot for AEW Stadium Stampede back in lockdown, so at least looks nice. And has the Daily's Place venue close by as an add-on. Great investment, Tony. Stadium goes 16 though. 16th! Shout out Nepenthes. Kansas City Chiefs, GEHA Field at Arrowhead Stadium. Surprisingly, one of the venues for the 2026 World Cup and a very popular soccer/football venue. I like the circular screens, and it is loud as it breaks the decibels, and being close by to the Kaufman Baseball Stadium. Simply put, probably one of the best outdoor venues. 13th place. Las Vegas Raiders. Originally from Oakland, the Raiders moved to Vegas because of this rather new Allegiant Stadium, with 65,000 seats but looking large and good as new due to its completion in 2020, and to host next year's Super Bowl in mighty Las Vegas. The stadium seats next to the legendary Vegas venues like MGM and Mandalay Bay, but it has its newest shine. Overall, the Allegiant Stadium sits comfortably in the top 5s with a controversial 5th place right in there. Raiders fans, be proud about this one. Continuing the rankings, SoFi Stadium for the LA Rams and Chargers. If the AT&T Stadium was a fortress, this is large in terms of the sheer sight, despite being 10,000 seats less than AT&T. Stan Kroenke's big money machine alongside the former San Diego Chargers who also moved there. SoFi Stadium is recently completed and the biggest spotlight hosted the Super Bowl last year and to be the venue for this year's WrestleMania event. It was built in a previous racing track in Inglewood, so it's gangster and bougie as it gets, and sits next to the Forum too. It's LA, it's bougie, it's the greatest stadium in the NFL, first place, bar none, and probably gonna have some partake in the future LA Olympics and the 2026 World Cup. Only time will tell how long the venue will last, but it sits at the top. Miami Dolphins Hard Rock Stadium. J-Lo and Shakira danced their socks off in this square-roofed venue as they hosted the 2019 Super Bowl. Apart from that, what else can I say about this middle of Miami free-time Super Bowl and future 2026 World Cup venue? Top place. Take it or leave it, as Patrick Starr would say. Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings have the 66,000 spot of the US Bank Stadium, residing where the old snow-filled roof dome used to be. Starting to see that the dome stadiums never were built to last. As for the 2016 built stadium, it's impressive as it gets, quite similar to the Falcons one, but it has its Viking charm. 7th place and rightfully in the top 10s. New England Patriots Gillette Stadium. Another outdoor stadium but home to the absolute kings of the Super Bowl. Shame the stadium doesn't have much detail as it sits between Providence and Boston. So let's speed this up, let's put this one in 20th place. Guess I am just a roof stadium enthusiast and an outdoor stadium slanderer. I don't know, I'm European. I know nothing. New Orleans Saints Caesar Superdome. A stadium of heroic humanitarian efforts as it sheltered people when Katrina hit. Also most known for 2 WrestleMania events and to host the Super Bowl in 2025. It is simply the strongest of all domes that have ever been built. 10th place, right in the top 10s. NY Jets and Giants MetLife Stadium. Big Apple, or East Rutherford awkwardly, apparently known for terrible transport, a lot of parking spots, which is peak America. MetLife has some similarities to Gillette, although it does not have a roof, and knowing how cold it gets in Jersey, it constantly is noted to be the New York Stadium, even though it is outside of Manhattan. 29th, cold response to say the least. At least it will be warm for the World Cup in 2026, and also resides where a racetrack and a mall and a defunct Ice Center or Meadowlands Arena presently. So the rankings proves that this place isn't the happiest to be. Absolutely forgive me, Jets and Giants. I like New York City, but the stadium, not so impressed. Philadelphia Eagles, Lincoln Financial Field. A stronghold for the Philly Eagles, finalists of this year's Super Bowl and of course next year's big WrestleMania 40 venue. Besides being an outdoor stadium in an overall tough-as-nails place known for Rocky Balboa, I'll give it a rough but fair 25th place. Not the greatest, but has its harsh charm. Acrisure Stadium is the home of the Steelers. And yet again, another outdoor venue, but the fans are proud of their home. Shame that me, an European, does not appreciate as much as it goes 28th place. But thankfully, it's tons better than MetLife. Miles apart. San Francisco 49ers, Levi's Stadium. Apart from a Super Bowl and a WrestleMania, I don't know much else about this stadium, but the outdoor California setting makes it look nice. 17th place is a reasonable spot, I guess. Seattle Seahawks Lumen Field. It's the home of the Seattle Sounders and the Seahawks, and it's multi-purpose and quite different to the other venues. Shares a bit of similarity to the NRG Stadium, but it's infinitely better. Top 5 venue as goes 4th place. Tampa Bay Buccaneers Raymond James Stadium, home of the infamous Glazers and Tom Brady's final hurrah team. It's the Buccaneers, and the only good thing they got is the pirate ship, and was the venue for WrestleMania back in 2021 with an even bigger pirate ship. Cool. 14th and yo ho ho worthy. Tennessee Titans Nissan Stadium. Second lastly, Nissan Stadium is another outdoor venue in Tennessee, similar to at least a quarter of other outdoor stadiums. It sits in 27th as it is due to be replaced later on in this decade, but what do I know about the future of stadiums anyway? And lastly is the Washington Commanders with the FedEx Field. Taking the place of the doomed RFK Stadium, the FedEx Field is as good as gone, as it is a health and safety burden, according to what I heard. The team is nice, although it changed its controversial name after the events of 2020, and for a season it was just called a football team. DC had it tough. To keep it short, it's the last ranked team as it rots in 30th. Absolute bottom, terrible owner. I have a big pity for the Commander fans. So, the final rankings are in. The top 10s consist of the Inglewood masterpiece that is SoFi, the behemoth of AT&T, the Fortress of Georgia, the lovely Lumen Field, and the bling of the Allegiant, alongside the old school Lucas Oil, the Norse Bank Stadium, this year's venue State Farm, and the humanitarian wonder of the Superdome, to wrap up the top 10s. Following that consists of the tough Ford Field, the flat but energetic Hard Rock in Miami, the loud Kansas Arrowhead, the Pirates of Tampa, Bengals, and Jags, as the more fun and unique stadiums. Then comes the middle ground of the 49ers, Packers, Ravens, Patriots, Panthers, and Broncos. And the lower we go, the teams that remain are the Bills, Bears, Eagles, Cleveland, Titans, and Steelers. And right at the bottom is MetLife and FedEx, the most disliked stadiums to some. Lastly, if I had to choose between the Eagles or Chiefs in this year's Super Bowl, obviously hoping the Eagles does the business and win the Super Bowl this year. Don't really want the Chiefs to win, but it seems like the stronger team. If you enjoyed this video or hated everything that I spewed and rambled, educate me on what the NFL experience is all about, as this was my rankings for the stadiums. As for the Super Bowl, may the best team win, quote unquote.